Hey, what's up guys? I know you've been asking for this for quite a while. It's gotten a little annoying to tell you the truth, but finally we're gonna have our first ever SLC Puck watch party at a bar named Sue right here on Highland Drive in Mill Creek. Super excited. March 30th is the date. Mark your calendar, 2 p.m. Utah Hockey Club taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Going to be an unbelievable game, but we're going to have great food, great drinks, some giveaways, some laughs, some music, probably some Johnny Cash at intermission. That's kind of the theme, the aesthetic here at a bar named Sue. It's a great place, tons of TVs, lots of space to cohabitate, and lots of space to get a lot of people in there. So let's pack the barn, let's pack the bar named Sue. Let's pack that place and have a ton of fun. Again, March 30th, 2 p.m., Utah versus Chicago. We'll see you there. What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck! It's time for a special morning edition of SLC Puck. I think this is the first time I've ever recorded an episode of SLC Puck bright and early in the morning. It's 8:55 local time here in an undisclosed location in the Salt Lake Valley. Although if you've been following the show for a little bit, you probably know I do the show from my mom's basement in Centerville. I'm trying to summon up a lot of energy to do this show. Hi everybody, I have my Instagram live going right now. People are commenting on that. Maybe I'll just do the show live in the future. I think there's the possibilities are kind of endless for the future of SLC Puck. But I'll tell you what, if I'm going to keep doing these in the morning, I'm going to need some help. And so I want to give a big shout out to our good friend Chris Grenier, Grin Diesel. He does the Bomb Hole podcast. They do run through a wall, smelling salts. I'm going to need one right now. All right. That was it. I'm ready. All right, we're ready to go. And here we are. Welcome to episode 90 of SLC Puck, the morning after. The morning after. We usually record the episodes Wednesday nights, but we had a late one last night. Utah, Anaheim, a real barn burner at the Delta Center. Utah Hockey Club picks up 2 points and a big 3-2 victory. By the way, what's going on with these 8 o'clock start times this week? I mean, it's getting to be a lot. We had 2 games this week that didn't begin until after 8 o'clock. I think last night's game didn't really face off until about 8:30 or so, which meant the game didn't end until around well after 11, I would say. But that also was the case with Monday's game, a 4-3 shootout loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. First time ever that the Toronto Maple Leafs were in Salt Lake City, Utah. So that was pretty cool. Saw Austin Matthews. I shouted at him to fix the spelling of his name, but he didn't listen. He was just playing hockey. We saw Mitch Marner, a guy a lot of people think is going to be on the Utah Hockey Club next year. So I don't know about that. Maybe we'll talk about that some other time. But let's get into both these games. 3 huge points over 2 games. The Utah Hockey Club now within 2 points of that last wildcard spot in the Western Conference playoffs. The hunt continues. Well, let's get into it. Hey, first of all, let me just say I really appreciate the love and support that I continue to get for SLC Puck. It's completely undeserved, and so I really, really am just grateful for it. It's fun to walk around the concourse of the arena wearing this hat. I guess it's sort of, is my trademark. It lets people know, hey, that's the guy, right? That's Austin. And so it's really fun to meet a lot of people. I had the incredibly fantastic pleasure of meeting one of my really, really good internet friends from this venture. Clean Hits Trent and his family were in town. They drove up from Arizona to check out the game last night. So I got to meet Trent, and I got to meet Trent at one of my favorite places in the world, Crown Burger. Hey, what's up, guys? Interrupting the show really quick because I think this is important. It's an insane deal that we've been doing with Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers and Jonathan's Jewelry. For listeners of SLC Puck, they're giving away a $250 gift card for every single episode of the show. We did this promotion in February. We're like, let's just have some fun. Let's see how we do. And it turned out great. We gave away a ton of gift cards. We had some people come into the shop, look at some of the incredible jewelry at Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers in Trolley Square and Jonathan's Jewelry in Cottonwood Heights. Same ownership group, They do a great job over there. So we thought, hey, let's keep this rolling. Let's do this into March. So it's a lot of fun. It's easy to enter into this raffle. All you have to do is scan this QR code right here. I also have it up the whole episode. And if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify or in audio form because you can't stand the sight of me, just go to the link that I drop in the show description. You'll see all the details there. It's also slcpuck.com. But again, we're not kidding you, folks. This is really happening. We're giving away a $250 gift card for every single episode of SLC Puck. Super, super exciting and generous partnership from our good friends at Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers and Jonathan's Jewelry. And guess what else? You don't even have to win the drawing to enjoy the benefits of this promotion. Just go into either one of those stores and mention SLC Puck. They'll knock $100 off your purchase. Not bad. Just say, hey, Austin sent me. I listen to SLC Puck. He's a good friend of mine. $100 off. No questions asked. Easy enough. So go ahead and do it. Scan the QR code. Go to Jonathan's Jewelry or Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers. Thank you. Grab some ice and let's get back to the show. And I've always said that Crown Burger is where true friendships are forged. And that meant a lot to me. But hey, you know what was great? Trent wore this cool shirt on the drive up from Arizona. So I think he and his family, they stopped by Grand Canyon or one of those big, rock structures. It might have been Bryce Canyon, wearing an SLC Puck shirt. In fact, I'll show you the one Trent had right here. Is this one right here. Just the big logo tee. So super cool of Trent to support the show. And I love the Clean Hits guys as well. So make sure you give them a lot of support as well. They do awesome merch as well. So, but again, like I love meeting you guys. Crown Burger is the best. Someone on my Instagram has commented, Crown Burger is the best. And it's a Salt Lake institution. I'm working on a t-shirt design right now to celebrate Crown Burger and everything it does for us. But anyway, hey, I just want to say big thanks to those of you guys who said hi. And it's always a big treat to meet you guys at Delta Center or wherever you find me out in the world with the wild. I know you guys probably know I go to the Costco in Salt Lake City just about every day for lunch. So for those of you who want to wear my skin and like an Austin Facer shirt, which I wouldn't recommend, get a shirt from slcpuck.shop instead. That's where you can find me. So it's always a pleasure to say hi, but let's get into these games, all right? So first game on Monday against Toronto. Again, super huge, super cool. First time Austin Matthews has ever been in the same building as me, and I think that was probably a real thrill for him, right? But two huge points are on the line. I almost said Montreal. Toronto came into this game reeling a little bit. They needed to win, and this game on Monday was really a ton of fun to watch from pretty much the opening bell to the final buzzer, which was, ended up being a shootout. These teams were flying. It was such an indicator to me that we're getting into playoff hockey mode. The intensity was there. It was fierce. The Utah Hockey Club went down early 3-0 to the Maple Leafs, and it appeared for a time that all hope may have been lost. But then our good friend of the show, well, not really, but a man we enjoy covering on the show, Michael Kesselring, got his team back into it. You probably saw this on social media. This went viral for a reason that'll become clear in just a moment. But here's Michael Kesselring getting his team into the game here. Again, Utah's down 3-0 at this point, I believe.
Superman punch right here. Just tried to jump him and even took, a 2-foot leap there. I think Kesselring going in, though, I think he injured his left arm when he got cross-checked right off the bat.
Did you see that?
And then it's just a spin around.
Ooh.
The Kevin BX, the Superman punch right here. Just tried to jump him. And
Superman punch to start the fight. I think that's there. Simon Benoit's. If I got the name wrong, I apologize. And then Kesselring gets pissed off. Lots of punches to the back of the head, and then boom, Kesselring hit his head on the ice right there. So that was a little bit of a scary moment right at the very end. But you can see Michael Kesselring answers the bell. He drops the gloves, and the fight started with a missed Superman punch, and there was a fantastic image that came out of that. I think someone already put it on a t-shirt. Dang it. Had a Utah Hockey Club guy been the one to go vertical and throw his fist down, I think absolutely, I would have put a shirt up on slcpuck.shop. We're going to talk about shirts a lot today. But it was such a mature moment, and I covered the game for KSL.com. I wrote a little story afterwards, so I had the pleasure of sitting next to Ryan Miller and Cole Bagley and Bell Frazier and Matt Coma and Chase Beardsley and Brogan Houston, all the folks who do incredible daily coverage of the Utah Hockey Club. We went in the locker room afterwards and we talked to Kesselring, and he's like, I haven't been playing a ton lately, which is true. His ice time has gone down a little bit. And he's like, I just want to find ways to get the team involved, to get going, and I was dropping the gloves. That's what I had to do. And so he gave credit to Benoit for answering the bell, for throwing the Superman punch, right? But then I as you saw in the video, Kesselring responded with a lot of intensity, and it really resonated with this team. Pretty much right after that, Utah Hockey Club scores 3 goals within a 4-minute stretch to tie the game up. They would play through overtime and then ultimately lose in the shootout. But to clutch up like that and pick up that one very vital point against a good Maple Leafs team was huge. And again, we talked about it we were in the locker room afterwards. We talked to Andre Turney and his post-game media availability, and he was super proud of his team. He was super proud of the maturity they showed, the resiliency, the character. I think he used the word character quite a bit. And I got the feeling he was talking quite a bit about Michael Kesselring, and the commentary there was extremely well deserved. And Clayton Keller said the same thing in his post game, media scrum. He's like, Kesselring did a great job of getting us excited, bringing the intensity back. Hockey is such a game of emotions, and that really is like, if you're new to the sport, you wonder like why guys fight. That's your explanation right there. Michael Kesselring knew he had to get his team back re-engaged in the game. They're down 3-0. It would be easy to just throw the towel in and be like, all right, well, we gotta get ready for frickin' Anaheim on Wednesday. Let's just take it easy. But these points are very necessary. You could argue this moment, this Michael Kesselring fight, may have been the catalyst to save a very, very critical point for the Utah Hockey Club. And that might be one that we look back on and go, that was a moment right there. That was huge. And just to talk a little bit more about like the locker room after the game. Please don't think like that I think I'm like super cool because I go in the locker room. Like it's kind of whatever. If you guys like know a little bit more about my story, like I've been working in sports media for a while, so I'm kind of used to being in locker rooms and stuff, and I don't really get like starstruck really by being around any of the players. And so I had a kind of a funny moment in the locker room. We after the game, we meet with 2 players in the locker room and kind of have a little scrum. The media surrounds them while they're basically just showered or gotten dressed or whatever for a little bit of an interview, about 5 or 6 minutes. We had Kesselring first, and then we had Keller. And I was kind of standing at the end of the scrum, so I was somewhat close to Keller. I wanted to ask him about scoring his 50th, or not scoring, but notching his 50th assist of the season, which was a new career high for him. So I wanted to ask him about that. So I got somewhat close. I asked him the question, and then the scrum ends, and the media, we all kind of turned to walk out to go to the other room to talk to Andre Turney. And apparently, like, I just start BSing with some of the media in the locker room on our way out. And someone, I think it was Cole Bagley, was like, what was that? What's up with that? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you totally just blew off Clayton Keller. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, Keller was trying to say something to you and you totally ignored him. And I'm like, what? And then I turn around and Clayton Keller is still standing there. He's smiling, looking at me. And he's like, I was telling you, man, I like your shoes. I was wearing these Jordans. I was wearing these Jordan 3s. And apparently Keller had tapped me on the shoulder just to give me a compliment. And me, without even realizing, had just sort of like turned in such a way that looked like I was just rudely ignoring him. So I had a funny little interaction. I said, thanks, Kel, appreciate it. And then just, scurried out. So funny little moment there. That's like sort of behind the scenes right there in sports media. So that was a funny thing. But anyway, good on Keller to give credit to Kesselring and to be the facilitator he is. And like 50 assists in a season is a pretty huge number. And I'll just give you a note here. Like only like 6 guys in NHL history have done that in a team's inaugural season. So he joined some rare company there. That group includes Wayne Gretzky. So anytime you join sort of a company or a group of players that includes a guy like Wayne Gretzky, I don't know if I know you guys are new to hockey out there. But Wayne Gretzky is kind of a big deal. Like it's not nothing to be in the record books next to Wayne Gretzky. That's kind of why this guy named Alexander Ovechkin is in the news so much the last week or so. He's going to be in the news even more in the next couple weeks as he chases down Gretzky's all-time goal record, which is going to be an incredible achievement across any sport for sure. So that's going to be something else. But heading into the Anaheim game on Wednesday, and you know what it is? I'm like so jittery right now doing the show in the morning and having like 200 milligrams of caffeine and some smelling salts in my system. Ooh, I'm shaking here. But anyway, so we're heading into Wednesday's game. It was a huge game, another late game, right? It was put on national TV on TNT. Very, very, very consequential. Heading in, the Utah Hockey Club was hunting that wild card spot, 3 points back. Heading into it, they had 67 points going into the game. They were trailing the Calgary Flames, who were holding down that last wild card spot, with 70 points. Vancouver right behind them with 69. Those two teams played each other last night. The St. Louis Blues tied with Vancouver with 69 points, and Utah Hockey Club was 67. So this was huge. Like this was a game that I was a little bit worried about because I thought the Utah Hockey Club might be looking past Anaheim a little bit. Anaheim's had 63 points in this, so they're kind of effectively out of it. But still, you got to keep your eyes on this because anything could happen. And they hadn't played well against Anaheim this season. They blew 2 leads in the third period against Anaheim earlier this year and lost both those games, I believe, in overtime or a shootout or maybe one of them in regulation. But anyway, they haven't played great against Anaheim, especially late in games. But I was like, all right, this is it. This could be a deciding game. And all of these games coming down the stretch are going to be like that. There's 17 games left to play, 17 game 7s. Got to pack the barn. We got to help the boys out. And by the way, I think we did a fantastic job last night. Those of us who were in attendance, and I just went as a fan. I went with my mom, my sister, my nephew, and which for me is like my favorite way to go to a game. And but I was like, I leaned over to my sister at a certain point. I'm like, oh, it's 10:30 on a Wednesday night, and this place is packed to the gills. And it really was. They had the rally towels out. They had, it was a full house. Like the lower bowl completely slammed. I saw like little smatterings of available seats in the upper bowl. Maybe it was just people going to the restroom or something. I don't know. But it was a packed house on a Wednesday night. And for me, I was like, this is evidence that hockey is going to work here and that people are invested and they care. And I would say like the players feel that too. And the guy in particular who I thought had a really great game last night on Wednesday was Mikhail Sergachev. I think I was watching him, and again, I leaned over to my sister. I'm like, he cares. He cares a lot about what's happening. You could just, like, he plays with a certain intensity, and I think it's been so funny to watch the full spectrum of emotions for Mikhail Sergachev, because I think we see a lot of times he's very stoic. He's very just kind of emotionless on the bench, doesn't really react to anything. But then sometimes, like, he'll score like an insane goal, like, just a wicked wrister from the slot, from the top, from the point, and he'll go crazy. He'll like do this crazy face. But he really, like, the highlight of the game last night, you could argue this might have been a game-saving moment, was Mikhail Sergachev's save. He's a defenseman, but he made a save, a game-saving save here in this game against Anaheim. I'll play the replay for you in case you missed it. And if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, you're going to miss the benefit of the visuals. So make sure you flip over to YouTube for that. But here, I'll just play this.
Strome below the goal line, comes back out. Oh!
Unbelievable toe save.
That is a save of the night.
I think this is in the second period. Crazy.
Strome below the goal line, comes back out.
And in a game in which the final score ended up being 3-2, you could very easily make the argument that saved the game, saved the 2 critical points for Utah. And now with 69 points, the Utah Hockey Club is just 3 points out of this wild card spot. They made up some ground. Again, Calgary and Vancouver both playing each other and going into overtime, actually, and Vancouver won that game. That hurt Utah a little bit. I mean, both those teams scored points in that game, so not great, right? But again, to move. Excuse me. I misspoke. Yeah, Calgary got the 1 point, so they still maintain that spot with 71 points. Utah with 69 is now just 2 spots out of that second wild card. Wow, even bigger than I thought. Excuse me. Yeah, so that was a huge game, and again, it's just great to see like these guys actually care. They're invested. The other guy who I thought you probably had his best game of the year last night was Josh Doan, who was flying all over the ice, racked up an assist or two. But his stick work was incredible. I felt like he's been one of the strongest forecheckers on this team. In every game he's played in. He did have to go down to Tucson to sort of work on some different things. But you can tell Josh Doan is an NHL player at this point. I think he's established that he belongs at this level. It didn't hurt and that his family was in town. His dad obviously is Shane Doan, NHL legend. I guess you could say he's probably like the John Stockton of the Arizona Coyotes, was there for 20 years, 13 years as the captain, I believe. I think he holds like every record in the Coyotes record book. So there's a legacy there, right? And Josh started his career with the Coyotes last year, scored 2 goals in his first game in front of his dad, Shane. And by the way, we got to meet Shane on Nashcast. He's just the coolest guy ever. But anyway, as I was saying, like Josh plays up to his family being in attendance. I think it was huge for Josh to have his dad here. Shane now works with the Toronto Maple Leafs in a scouting role and in an advisory role. So that was very big. And they stayed through the week. They stayed for the Anaheim game, and it was. I think he just likes playing in front of his family. I think he feels that extra motivation. I think he wants to make his dad proud of him. Hey, relatable, right? I get it, Josh. And it's just fun. Is there any way that we could get Shane Doan to come to all the Utah Hockey Club games and just he can scout for the Maple Leafs here? Just whoever the opponent happens to be. Or if nothing else, can we get Josh's mom at all these games? I think that would be really good for the hockey club coming down the stretch. I mean, this is a really critical time. There's a lot of great restaurants in the Salt Lake area that Josh's mom can check out during the day. She can go on some walks. We got like a lot of great parks here. A lot of great trails. I am in favor of Josh Doan's mom sticking around in Salt Lake City for the duration of the playoff chase. I think that's going to be a really critical thing driving the Utah Hockey Club forward. So, what power I have, that's what I would advocate for. Let's just see. Let's see if that happens. If anyone can maybe give the Doans some good restaurant recommendations or things to do during the day on off days, let's do it. Let's get Josh's mom hanging around here. But right now, the Utah Hockey Club, they're going to hit the road coming up. They're playing Seattle on Friday. And again, these trap games kind of scare me. Like Seattle's got nothing to lose. They're out of the playoff race. They would love to play spoiler for a few of these teams coming down the stretch. Again, it's a late game, 8 o'clock Mountain Time, so I guess that's going to be 7 o'clock in Seattle. So probably not too late, but still, these road games are very, very important. Seattle's always a tough place to play. They have been in their entire illustrious 3-year history. What are the Climate Pledge Arena, I think is the name. I got to get up there to Seattle because I think what Seattle does with like their game atmosphere and the way they just put on a great show is super, super cool. It's very reminiscent of what the Vegas Golden Knights do with sort of just the pageantry of it all. And I think there's a lot of lessons the Utah Hockey Club could learn as they transition into their, permanent identity. So anyway, I got to get up, and one of my very best friends lives up in Seattle. I haven't seen him in a couple of years, so I got to get up there. But they're going to stay up in the Pacific Northwest for a huge, again, these heading up into the rainy area, the Pacific Northwest. Huge games for Utah Hockey Club. They play the Kraken on Friday, and then probably what will feel like a season-deciding game, perhaps. I mean, listen, I'm not being dramatic here, guys. These games are so frickin' important. Sunday's game it's going to be said on the broadcast many, many times. Most important game of the year. They're playing the Vancouver Canucks in Vancouver, in British Columbia. 2 points on the line. It's a 4-point swing, really, either way. It's going to be so important that Utah Hockey Club, one, either takes this game to overtime, or best case scenario, wins this game. If they lose this game in regulation to Vancouver, a team they're chasing in the standings, that could effectively put them out of the race. But again, to pick up 2 points on Vancouver, maybe they'll surpass them. They're 2 points back right now. Depending on how the next couple games go for Vancouver, I don't have their schedule up. Apologies. But yeah, that game on Sunday is super important. And we're coming down the home stretch. It's a lot of fun. We can see the community here in Utah is getting really excited. I get asked this all the freaking time because, people know I do a podcast, but are they listening? I don't know. Hey, we're at the 23-minute mark. If you made it this far, thank you. For one. Thanks for bearing with me. I had a caffeine sort of jitter to work through, so I appreciate that. But again, it's just been to me really overwhelming to see how much people care about what's happening with this team, and it's not just on a fanhood level. It's on a very emotional, personal. We care deeply about the human beings who are involved with this team. And that's been really, really, really amazing to see. And I want to give a shout out to one fan in particular, and she's a fellow YouTuber as well. I want to give a shout out to Jackie. Her handle on Twitter, which I guess is called X, but I'm still going to call it Twitter. Sorry. Sometimes I go back and forth on that. She's been arranging and coordinating the creation and distribution of some letters to Connor Ingram, who, as we talked about last episode, or maybe it was the episode before, has entered the player assistance program to get some mental health treatment. He's kind of been reeling a little bit with the loss of his mother earlier this year. But Jackie has been arranging some letters to Connor Ingram, has been coordinating that effort. I think they even set up a whole sign making or card making station at Delta Center last night. But you can see her handle is Nacho Likes Puck. I'll have to ask her about that. But it says here in her tweet, for those who won't be in attendance tonight and still want to send a support letter to Ingram, you can email it to me, or we can schedule time for another pickup over the next week. Art is welcome as well. The email is letterstoingy@gmail.com. So go ahead and check that out. And Jackie and her husband, Clint, do a fantastic YouTube channel as well called Utah Puck Clubhouse. So make sure you guys go ahead and check that out next if you're watching this on YouTube. But again, it's I think it's the kind of, and Andre Tourigny talked about this in the post game as well. I believe the media asked him his thoughts on this. It might have been the first he had heard of this, and his reaction was very sweet. He's like, "This is awesome. This is why we love being here. This is why we do what we do for the fans. This is why we're invested in this playoff race, not just for us, not just as competitors, and for folks who for hockey players who want to raise a Stanley Cup, and that's what they all want, right? I think they play for Utah. They play for us. They play for us as fans. They play for us as content creators. They care. They want to dive in front of pucks. They want to take Superman punches to the face and miss them. I don't think they want to hit their head on the ice, but they're willing to do that because they know that the people here in Utah really have fallen in love with them immediately and somewhat unconditionally, because I don't think a lot of folks around here really knew what hockey was very interested, or were very interested in hockey before April 18th, 2024. But now we're in it. It's a hunt for the playoffs. We want to see a championship here in Utah so badly. I think we've kind of resigned the fact that the Utah Jazz are perhaps at best case 5, 10, perhaps 15, maybe 20, could be 25, might be 30, possibly even 40 years away from winning an NBA championship. Winning a Stanley Cup, it feels a lot more realistic here in Utah, and especially when you have guys who care, and like Mikhail Sergachev, Michael Kesselring, Dylan Gunther, who's going to be here for a long time, Logan Cooley, Clayton Keller, Andre Tourney as a coach, GMBA, General Manager Bill Armstrong, guys who care. There are so many guys who care and fans who care, like Jackie. And to me, it just tells me that we're building something really, really special here. And you guys are all part of it, and I really appreciate that. And so we really big thanks for your support. Big games coming up for the Utah Hockey Club. We'll do the next episode after the game on Sunday, so we'll react to what happened and the outcome there and the implications thereof. But anyway, really appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. That's knuck and futz. That's pretty cool. So thank you guys. And again, I'm on social media at SLC Puck. Don't forget to scan this QR code. Big thanks to our good friends at Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers and Jonathan's Jewelry. And we have a watch party coming up. Woo! Woo! March 30th, bar named Sue. Can't wait to see you there. I'll talk more about that as that date draws near. But anyway, we appreciate the support, guys. Catch you later.